Now we're going to start our site setup. Now usually you're going to have something in mind, or you may have a client that is giving you some specifications. Here's some specifications that we're going to use for this site. The site is a review site on trucks and SUVs. So now we got to think about how to set up the sections and the categories. And then of course in the categories go the articles. So our sections, we'll just have a section for trucks and a section for SUVs. And then in our categories, and this will be under trucks, we'll have half ton, and then 3/4 ton. And then we could have larger trucks. Okay, and then under SUVs, now we could use some of the same categories we want, or we can have different categories. So again, we will use half and 3/4 ton. And then maybe we'll have another one called crossover. Okay, so we'll use these as our specs. Now these are real world specs. Now let's turn that into a site. So the first thing we're going to want to do is set up our sections. We'll set up a section for trucks and we'll set up a section for SUVs. So let's go to Section Manager. And what we're going to do here is add a new one. So click New. Okay, and then we'll set up our sections. We have trucks. And then we can decide what the access level is going to be. It can either be for the public or for registered users or for a special. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave it for public because in this case we want everybody to be able to see this information. Okay, we could also add an image on here if we wanted to. And then we can give it more description down here if we're so inclined. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll save this. And then we'll add another section. Call this one SUVs. Okay, again, public access. Save. Okay, so now we have trucks and SUVs. Next thing we need to do is go and do our categories. Okay, so we can bring up our specs. So we're going to have half ton, 3/4 ton, larger, and crossover are going to be our 4 categories. Half ton. Okay, and then section, we pick our section. So our section is going to be trucks. And again, public access, we have the same things here where we can either do our image if we want to have an image in here, and then we can also put some more description down here if we wanted to. Let's save. And then we'll add another one. Three-quarter ton. Save. A new one. And this will be our crossover was for SUVs. And then add another one. And this time we want larger. And this is for trucks. And then we also have to set up half ton and 3/4 ton for SUVs. Okay, so we'll add those as well. Okay, so now we have our sections all set up and our categories all set up within those sections. At this point, what we can do is we can start adding our articles that go inside the different categories. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw a couple of articles in each section and each category so that you can see a little bit easier how to set the site up. If there's no data in there, it's a little harder to see what's going on. So I'm going to swipe some articles from a few places just for demonstration purposes, and then we'll continue from there. We'll go to Content, and then Article Manager. Then what we want to do is we want to add a new article. Okay, in here we give it an article title, and then we got to pick our section. So the first one we're going to do is on trucks. And then what we want to do is pick the category, half, 3/4, or larger. So this one will be on a half-ton truck. Then we simply put our review inside the box here. Put the title in here. And then we have over here some advanced things we can set. You can set the publish date. We can set some advanced parameters here, and you can set any of these the way you want. We won't go into that too much. It's pretty self-explanatory. And then our metadata information. This is where you can make it search engine friendly by giving your description down here and the keywords. So we can do that. We can say our title will be our description.